Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today we're heading out to Colorado, but not to the usual spots like Aspen or Telluride. We're going to be exploring a town that's a bit off the beaten path.
Morrison. Yeah, Morrison. It's right next door to Denver, and, well, it's a town of less than 400 people, according to this article we're looking at here.
Less than 400 people. Wow, that's pretty small.
Yeah.
It's amazing how such a tiny town can still offer so much, though.
Right. That's what caught my eye, too. Like, you've got this bustling city right there, but then you step into Morrison, and it's a completely different world. A world of, well, dinosaurs, apparently.
Dinosaur.
Yeah. Dinosaur Ridge is right there in Morrison's. It's not just a museum. It's like this huge outdoor park where you can see actual dinosaur footprints.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're talking like fossilized footprints embedded in rock?
Exactly. And not just any footprints. I mean, we're talking Apatosaurus, Allosaurus, Stegosaurus. Like, these are the giants of the dinosaur world. That's incredible. You know, it's one thing to see dinosaur bones in a museum, but to actually see their footprints where they walked millions of years ago, it's like stepping back in time.
Right, and it's not just about seeing the footprints.
Yeah.
The article talks about how paleontologists have learned so much from these tracks. Like the Apatosaurus footprints helped them understand how these massive creatures moved and how much they weighed.
I can see how that would be fascinating. It's like a window into their behavior and their lives.
Okay, so we've got dinosaurs.
hmm
What else is there to see in Morrison?
Well, have you heard of Red Rocks Amphitheater?
The concert venue? Yeah, of course. But is that in Morrison too?
It is. It's carved right into these stunning red rock formations. I mean, can you imagine a more epic setting for a concert?
I've seen pictures. It looks absolutely incredible.
And the acoustics are supposed to be amazing. The natural rock formations create this, like, natural amphitheater. It was actually built back in 1936 by the Civilian Conservation Corps, which is pretty cool.
Wow, so it's got this historical element too.
Exactly. And it's hosted everyone from the Beatles to U2. I mean, talk about musical history.
Okay, so we've got dinosaurs, rock concerts. What else does Morrison have up its sleeve?
Well, if you're into scenic drives, there's the Lariat Loop National Scenic Byway.
A scenic byway. Okay, I'm picturing winding roads, mountain views.
You got it. It's about a 40-mile loop that takes you through some of the most beautiful parts of Colorado. You'll pass Lookout Mountain with its panoramic views of the Rockies and go through these charming little towns like Golden and Evergreen.
Golden. Isn't that where Coors beer is brewed?
That's right. You can actually visit the Coors Brewery in Golden.
Okay, now that's something I'd want to check out.
And along the Lariat Loop, you might even spot some wildlife, like elk or bighorn sheep.
Wow, sounds like a nature lover's dream.
Oh, and speaking of nature, we can't forget about Bear Creek Lake Park.
A lake?
Yeah. It's a beautiful park with, obviously, the lake, but also tons of hiking trails, fishing spots, even campsites. And if you're into golf, there's the Fox Hollow Golf Course nearby.
So whether you're into relaxing by the water or hitting the trails, you're covered.
Exactly. Morrison really does seem to have something for everyone. It's kind of surprising, given how small it is.
It is. And the article mentions all these other cool things, too. Like there's the Fort Restaurant. It's this, I don't know, kind of legendary spot in Morrison that serves Southwestern cuisine made with all local ingredients.
Oh, wow. So we're talking like wild game and fresh vegetables.
Yeah. I'm kind of intrigued by that.
Me too. It sounds like a really authentic experience. And speaking of authentic, there's also the Rocky Mountain Quilt Museum in Morrison.
A quilt museum. Okay, now that's unexpected.
Right. But it's supposed to be amazing. They have these historical Colorado quilts that tell stories about the lives of early settlers and the challenges they faced. You know, like using scraps of fabric and recycled materials to create these beautiful and intricate works of art.
Wow, I can see how that'd be really interesting. It's like a different kind of art history, one that's connected to the land and the people who live there.
Exactly. And for those who like their art a little more adventurous, there are some incredible geological formations around Morrison.
Oh, right, like Red Rocks Amphitheater.
Mm-hmm.
But are there others?
Yeah. There's Mount Morrison, which has these amazing views and caves.
Caves? Cool.
And then there are the Walker Mansion ruins. It was this grand mansion built by a millionaire back in 1905, but it burned down in 1918. Now, all that's left are these ruins, but you can still hike to them and explore.
Wow, that's a little bit eerie, but also kind of fascinating. Like, you can see how nature has reclaimed this once grand estate.
Right. And speaking of nature, did you know that Morrison has a pretty serious rock climbing scene?
Rock climbing? I never would have guessed that.
Yeah. Apparently, there's this indoor climbing gym called Movement Golden where you can learn the ropes. And then there are all these outdoor climbing spots around Morrison where you can put your skills to the test.
Wow, Morrison is full of surprises.
It really is. And the best part is that it's all just an hour's drive from Denver, which means you can easily combine a visit to Morrison with all that a big city has to offer.
It's like having 2 vacations in one.
Exactly. So let's say you're in Morrison and you decide you want to experience a bit of that big city energy. Well, you hop in the car, and an hour later, you're in Denver.
And what would you do in Denver? What are some of the must-see attractions?
Well, first off, there's Meow Wolf Denver, which is this incredible immersive art experience. It's like stepping into another dimension. And then for baseball fans, there's the National Ballpark Museum.
A museum dedicated to ballparks. That's pretty specific.
It is, but it's actually really interesting. You can learn all about the history of baseball stadiums and see exhibits on some of the most iconic ballparks in the country.
Okay, I'm kind of intrigued now.
Yeah.
And what about nightlife? Any recommendations for places to check out in Denver?
Larimer Square is the spot for nightlife. Tons of bars, restaurants, live music venues. It's the place to be if you want to experience the energy of the city.
Okay, so we've got dinosaurs, concerts, scenic drives, historical ruins, rock climbing, art experiences, and vibrant nightlife. It's kind of overwhelming, honestly.
I know. Who knew that a town of less than 400 people could pack in so much?
Right. And we haven't even talked about where to stay yet, but don't worry, we've got you covered. The article mentions a bunch of different accommodation options in Morrison and Denver.
Yeah. For those looking for luxury, there's the Crawford Hotel in Denver.
Yeah.
But if you're on a tighter budget, there are plenty of more affordable options, like the Hampton Inn and Suites, Denver Littleton, or the Holiday Inn Express and Suites Golden.
So no matter your budget, you can find a comfortable place to rest your head after a day of exploring all that Morrison and Denver have to offer.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I think we've covered a lot of ground here in this first part of our deep dive into Morrison.
We have. It's amazing how much we've already uncovered.
It is, and there's still so much more to explore.
There is. I'm already looking forward to diving deeper into some of these topics in the next part.
Me too. We've only scratched the surface of what Morrison has to offer. But for now, we're going to take a quick break.
And when we come back, we'll continue our exploration of this unexpected gem of a town.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You know, it's funny. We've been talking about all these amazing things to see and do in Morrison, but I haven't even mentioned the art scene yet.
Oh, right. The Quilt Museum. But is there more to it than that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The article talks about this whole community of local artists who are doing some really cool stuff. Like, they're inspired by the landscape, the history, all that.
I can see how that would be inspiring. I mean, just thinking about those views from Lookout Mountain and Mount Morrison.
Right. It's like, how could you not be inspired by that?
And, speaking of those views, it makes me think, like, are those places easy to get to? Like, if you're not a hardcore hiker or anything?
Well, Lookout Mountain is actually pretty accessible. There's a paved road that goes all the way to the top, so you can drive up there if you want. Mount Morrison is a bit more of a hike, but it's definitely doable for most people.
Okay, good to know. I'm not exactly, like, an expert hiker, but I do love a good view.
Oh, you and me both. And speaking of things that are good for all skill levels, we were talking about rock climbing earlier, and I just wanted to add that, like, even if you've never climbed before, Morrison is a great place to try it out.
Yeah, you mentioned that indoor gym, Movement Golden. That sounds like a good place to start.
Totally. And then, once you get the hang of it, there are tons of outdoor spots around Morrison where you can climb.
Cool. So basically, whether you're a beginner or a pro, you're covered.
Exactly. And, it's funny. We've been talking a lot about the outdoors, but Morrison has a lot to offer indoors, too, like in terms of food.
Oh, right.
That's
The
really
Fort
good.
Restaurant. But what about other options? Like, is there anything a little more, I don't know, fancy?
Well, the article mentions this place called the Manor House, which is a historic bed and breakfast that also has a really nice restaurant.
A bed and breakfast with a fancy restaurant. That sounds kind of cool.
It does, right? Like a nice place to stay and a great place to eat, all in one.
I'm definitely adding that to my list.
And don't forget, like, we're right next to Denver, which has, endless options for everything.
Right. We talked about Meow Wolf and Larimer Square, but I'm thinking, like, what about museums?
Yeah.
Are there any good ones in Denver?
Tons. Like, the Denver Art Museum is amazing.
Yeah.
And then there's the Museum of Nature and Science, which is always a good time.
Okay, cool. So basically, if you get bored in Morrison, which I doubt you will, you could just hop over to Denver and find something to do.
Exactly. It's the best of both worlds, really.
I like that. And it's funny, we keep coming back to this idea of Morrison being full of surprises. Like, you wouldn't necessarily expect to find all this stuff in such a small town.
I know. It's like it's this tiny little place on the map, but then you zoom in and it's just bursting with things to do and see.
It's kind of like, don't judge a book by its cover.
Right. Morrison might be small, but it's definitely mighty.
I like that. Morrison. Small but mighty.
I think we just came up with their new tourism slogan.
Ah, maybe we should pitch it to them.
Seriously. Okay. But in all seriousness, I think what we're both picking up on here is that Morrison is a place that really encourages you to explore, to get off the beaten path, to discover things for yourself.
Totally. It's not like a, prepackaged tourist destination where everything is laid out for you.
Yeah.
You have to kind of like dig a little deeper to find the good stuff.
Exactly. And that's part of what makes it so rewarding. You feel like you're really experiencing something authentic, something unique.
I like that. Authentic and unique. That's a good way to describe Morrison.
I think so too. So as we wrap up our Morrison adventure, I'm curious what stood out to you the most. Was it the dinosaurs, the rock climbing, the art, the proximity to Denver? What really resonated with you?
It's tough to choose just one thing, but I think what's really stuck with me is this idea of Morrison as a place of contrasts. Like, you have this tiny town with a population smaller than some high schools right next to a major metropolitan city.
That is pretty wild, yeah.
Yeah.
You've got that small town vibe, that sense of history and community, but then you're also just a stone's throw from all the excitement and cultural offerings of
Right.
Denver.
It's almost like getting two vacations in one.
Yeah.
And then there's the contrast between the natural landscape and the man-made attractions. You've got these ancient rock formations and dinosaur footprints, but then you also have this thriving arts and culture scene.
It's a really cool blend of elements, and I think that's what makes Morrison so unique and appealing. It's not just a one-dimensional destination. It's got something to offer everyone, no matter what your interests are.
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's that diversity of experiences that really makes Morrison stand out. And I think it's also what makes it such a great place to explore.
Because you never know what you're going to find around the next corner. It could be a hidden art gallery, a cozy restaurant, or a breathtaking view.
Exactly. It's a town that rewards curiosity and exploration. And I think that's a really special thing.
It is. And, I think that's something we could all benefit from. A little bit more curiosity and exploration in our lives.
I agree. It keeps things interesting.
Right, definitely. It opens up new possibilities, new perspectives. And who knows, it might even lead us to discover hidden gems, both in the world around us and within ourselves.
Well said. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our Morrison deep dive.
I guess all good adventures have to come to an end eventually.
They do. But the memories we make, the experiences we have, those stay with us.
And hopefully they inspire us to seek out new adventures and to keep exploring the world around us with a sense of wonder and curiosity.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this journey to Morrison, Colorado, everyone.
We hope you enjoyed the ride.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.